Good morning and happy Saturday, you guys. It is Amanda and Barron with Kickin'Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Our sponsor for this first half is Odd Moe's Pizza, and I have their menu in front of me for those that can see. So,
which is kind of fun that they can see now.
Yes. Hello. We have a YouTube channel now, you guys, for those that don't know. Do you want to give the details on it really quick?
Yeah, it's called Kickin'Cancer Productions. And if you just go to YouTube and search it, what we really could use your help with is when you find it, subscribe.
Yes.
There are 8 episodes, and each episode has 2 per episode. So there's like 16 of them to look at from there.
Yeah.
But yes, you can now listen and watch.
Hello. Okay, so Odd Moe's Pizza, they are our sponsor for this first half, and Mike has been with us since the very beginning, so huge shout out to Odd Moe's Pizza. They have 1 pound of chicken wings for $10.99. They have, their flavors are barbecue, buffalo, sweet Asian, garlic parmesan, mango habanero.
That's a really good one, by the way.
And it hurts twice.
It hurts. Because
it hurts going in.
Yep.
And it hurts coming out.
Can I tell you a fun story with the Hurts Twice?
Yeah.
They actually have a hot sauce.
Yeah.
It's called Hurts Twice hot sauce. and Allie will appreciate this, which will make more sense as the show goes on. When Mike first started marketing his hot sauce, you would order it, and then he would take a box, he'd put a roll of toilet paper in the box, and then in the middle, he would put the hot sauce, and then he would ship it to you.
That's amazing.
Because the hot sauce hurts twice.
Yep.
It's wrong.
Marketing.
It's just good. It is honest marketing. It's honest marketing.
What do you want?
Right. So last week, Mike brought us in some potato poppers, and he brought us in 2 different pizzas. I don't even recall what the second one was because the Green Monster was so stinking good.
With the chicken on it.
Oh my gosh, I just love it. And he's got so many options.
Well, the pasta's amazing too.
Yeah, and so you can do a pasta and cheesy garlic bread. They've got a few different good deals and coupons. They've got an extra large pizza with twice the pepperoni. That's only $20.70. I mean, you guys, the prices are phenomenal. They've got chicken strips, boneless wings, cheesy garlic bread, Mojo's. I like that. And they've got the 3 different pastas, which is the garlic basil pasta, traditional red sauce, and the garlic red pepper. So if you guys have not tried them, or if you have, call them and order your pizza to go. They even deliver.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong there.
And, you know, it's really great that you mentioned the menu and the healthy options, because it's going to play into a discussion that I brought Allie in to talk about. I don't want to jump too far ahead of the schedule, but it really is good, healthy pizza.
Oh, yeah. Their ingredients are fresh, and they have the cauliflower crust option for any pizza. It doesn't just have to be the Green Monster. It can be any pizza, and it is phenomenal.
Well, and one thing
you can't even taste the difference.
No, you can't. And I love the Reggie because I really do like artichoke hearts, and they're right there on top. You know,
Mm-hmm.
So
I really love artichoke hearts. They're not for everybody, but for me, you could pile them high.
They should be.
Pile them high and give them all to me.
Well, before we get too far in, we do have a guest with us today.
Yes.
And for those that are watching, we're both wearing our blue today, which will make sense here in a second.
I didn't get the memo.
You didn't get the memo. You're in black. Someone's got to offset the color pattern here.
That's all right.
We'll talk about the reason we're wearing blue here in a little bit.
Okay.
But, Allie, introduce yourself. What do you do? How do they know you in town?
Hi, my name is Ashlie Virtue. I own and run Parkside Nutrition, an online nutrition coaching company. And, I help people eat healthier, teach them how to eat. And
there you go.
Yeah.
For the camera to see.
For the camera to see. So I'm really passionate about providing resources and tools so people can feel like they can make a meaningful difference when it comes to their health with nutrition and the lifestyle habits that they already do.
Which is the reason I wanted to bring her in. We've talked about food a lot over the last couple of years. We had a great conversation with Yuri a few weeks ago, and that's going to play into our conversation. So Allie is going to bring a lot of information about food and nutrition, and that's
perfect.
What we want to do as a guest.
All right.
Recap last week. The Knight Institute and Derek called in. I am truly amazed at what that place is doing.
Yes. I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me was how Phil Knight was like, if you raise this much money, I will then double it, basically.
Do you remember how much he pledged?
Gosh, was it
$500 million.
Yes. So they got $1 billion for the funding for this project, and just everything that they're doing and how they're working on multiple different projects for cancer and just what that can bring and how people can detect it early. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I did like his phrase that their mission is to eliminate cancer as we know
Altogether.
That's amazing.
Eliminate cancer as we know it.
Yes.
So great one. Our 100 disease-fighting food.
Yes.
Before we started recording, Allie was vigorously finding us some facts.
Yeah, reviewing. I was like,
So today's is fennel.
Fennel.
Do you know what fennel is?
I do not.
Allie does. She'll tell you here in a second. I'll tell you what the magazine says.
Okay.
Put my glasses here. Fennel is a cousin of the carrot. It is a heart-smart produce pick. Fennel provides a good amount of fiber, which has been linked to healthy cholesterol levels, as well as potassium, a mineral that helps your body regulate blood pressure. This bulb, and you can kind of see the picture there. It looks kind of like a carrot. It's a bulb, right? This bulb gives you selenium. Research shows that people who get a lot of selenium have lower rates of prostate, bladder, gastric, and other cancers.
Okay.
Selenium is a powerhouse we think a lot about. But I did ask Allie, since she's the kind of the food person, what do you know about fennel?
It's really beneficial for a lot of digestive issues. So like bloating, heartburn, any kind of indigestion, constipation. It's kind of a natural laxative. So it stimulates the muscles in your guts, the smooth muscles, to actually contract and move things along. So sometimes that could be a component of constipation. Most people think it's just not enough fiber. This provides fiber as well, so it helps on multiple levels. But it can also stimulate those muscles to move. So sometimes it can be a neurological issue with constipation if those muscles aren't contracting on a regular basis. And fennel does a good job of that. It also increases digestive juices. It's kind of a powerhouse. Yeah.
Can you move your mic a little bit closer? You're there you go. And maybe don't look away. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. No worries. It's got rambling on fennel facts.
Hardly catching your voice there.
We're going to get that.
Okay, I'm going to take a picture of this. If you guys want a picture of it, just email me at amanda@kslm.news.
Or any of the ones we've done in the past, too.
Yes.
My update for you is something that's going to happen in about 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
So right
Hit me with it.
right now, down at Riverfront Park, it's all set up for World Beat.
That's right.
And in 2 hours is the Dragon Boat Race.
Dun, dun, dun.
I just love the name that Liberty House has given their boat.
Oh, yes.
Blazing Paddles.
Yes. And their logo is adorable.
Yeah. And ours has the dragon boat. In fact, I think you have a picture of it over here somewhere. But ours has a dragon boat, and then behind the dragon boat is, there you go, there's a picture of ours. There's a dragon boat, and behind it is a donkey.
That's a donkey. That's great.
Wakeboarding behind it.
That's amazing.
Because they're dragging their...
We're dragging our ass down the Willamette.
That's amazing. So good.
But yeah, there's 4 boats. It'll be a charity dragon boat race in a couple hours. So there's your update.
Yeah, so if you guys have anything planned for this afternoon, head on down, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a great day
It's
for
a
weather.
huge event.
Huge event. Mm-hmm. World Beat was formed to really kind of highlight lots of cultures throughout the world.
Yeah.
And they've always done a competitive dragon boat race. Scott Mills got a couple years ago, he started doing one boat as a charity thing. Mm-hmm. Well, then he and I had this idea 5 years ago to get a couple boats.
Yeah.
Once the pandemic hit, we had to kind of shift gears, but now we have 4 boats that are going to race today.
Awesome. Well, good luck.
Yes. My other update for you is some numbers. Currently, our podcast, we're at 3,287 downloads.
Wow.
Of our podcast.
That's awesome.
What's even more powerful is since Ashlie has joined the staff,
welcome, Ashlie.
we have 28 subscribers to our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So if you're listening, go to Kickin'Cancer Productions, that's on YouTube, and then subscribe. But it's interesting what's happening with the listens and the views when you can actually watch it and see what Ashley's adding to the shows.
Oh, she adds so much. It's awesome.
Well, here's a couple of examples. We have 8 episodes. Our top 4, Yuri's has had 41 downloads.
Okay.
Awesome.
When Ozzy's parents called in, 75.
Oh, wow.
When Matt was here, 115.
Oh, my goodness.
115 people have watched and listened to Matt when he was here.
Yeah.
And the very first one was when Dee Smith was here, and that one had 115 as well.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Well, I think it's cool because people can visually see us.
Yeah.
Before we were just kind of a sound. Just,
right.
You know, you could just hear us, but visually seen. I'm a visual person, so
yeah.
I love the visual.
So make sure you're
I
watching,
always
guys.
like making funny faces at the camera, Brandon.
It adds a lot to the conversation.
Well, we did throw a challenge out to the listeners last week. Do you remember the challenge we threw out? No, you don't. So what I do know is we have about 3,000 shirts somewhere.
Oh, yes.
You know, they're all over the United States, in the world, hats, whatever. And I said, if you have a shirt, take a picture, email it to Amanda.
Yes.
At
Amanda at kslm.news.
Well, you can also jump onto any of those podcasts and you can add a comment. And we had the first head pop up with a comment
Okay.
from New Mexico.
I love
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
I
So
love
you
it.
guys are out there. We
Yeah.
want to highlight you. Well, the head that popped up will be a guest in July.
Okay. Awesome.
That's exciting.
I'm excited
Yeah,
to see
they're
who
out
that
there.
is then.
So this is one of the big reasons I wanted Ashlie to come in is I found an article, and we're not going to get into all of this because she's not an expert in all of it, but it certainly opens an interesting conversation about our food system.
Okay.
Okay, so the article is called "The Dark Side of the Food System, the Food Industry That Nobody Wants to Talk About," and it says, if you are buying processed food, you are paying for it at least 4 times.
Okay.
Okay, first you are paying for the food in the store. Second, you are paying for the farm bill that subsidizes, that makes that food cheaper. The unhealthy food cheaper.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying
Kind
here?
of.
Especially the corn industry is majorly subsidized by our federal government,
Right.
which is why high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup is so inexpensive to put in food.
Right.
So you're paying our government to subsidize corn. That make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Yes.
So that's 2. 3, you are paying for the environmental damage of the way that food was grown.
Oh, Lord.
Damage to our water, air, and soil.
Yeah.
More importantly, you are paying for the health care dollars, the taxpayer money, for the health ramifications of the chronic diseases of the food.
Jeez. Way to put that into perspective.
Well, here puts it all in perspective. That burger is actually a $100 hamburger, whether you like it or not. It's not a dollar hamburger.
Really?
And this is a guy named Dr. Casey Means. There's a YouTube down here at the bottom.
Yeah.
You can take a picture of that. But I thought, as I'm reading this, and I'm thinking about when Yuri was here and he was talking about just growing up and just eating real food because you don't eat different, right? Except, again, Allie's not an expert in the food industry, but she is an expert in nutrition. And you said something to me, Allie, that I think is really intriguing, that we get in this lazy river. You want to elaborate on your lazy river analogy?
Yeah. So if we think about lazy river, it's not meant in a negative context, of course, but like we can kind of think of lazy river as society, right? There's many benefits to society. Like the more organized we are, usually convenience increases and things like that. So if we kind of think about that, because I'll work with clients and I'm like, hey, this is so hard, and that's one of the things that you have to do with clients is like, okay, we need to stop using the word hard, right? Because like this is what we got to do to be healthy, right? But it does feel like you're kind of stuck on this lazy river, and we have many benefits to this lazy river. Like you can have fast food, and all you have to do is kind of coast along and grab it on the side of the road, literally, as you're coasting along, and it's really convenient. But like you said, there's other costs to making those decisions, and when we're trying to make those changes, it can feel like you're swimming upstream. You're like, I have to make all of these different choices than like my friends do, my family's doing, and like I'm busy with work, I don't have a lot of time, so it can really feel like a big struggle. But if we picture like this is a lazy river, and if we want to end up at a different destination than wherever this river is taking me, I have to swim, I have to put some effort in, and that's it. Kind of, I've never actually used this analogy before when we were talking this through.
I like it though.
Yeah, it works really well because like it is going to require some effort. You know, convenience is great, but convenience doesn't take much effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a water park where they actually have a lazy river? Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
very
great
soothing.
because there's a current in there.
Yes.
And you can just literally coast along and push yourself off the wall.
Yes.
And you don't have. It's not meant to be a negative statement towards you, but it is a lazy river because you don't have to work very hard.
Right.
Because the current's going to move you.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to get out of a lazy river? There's a little
hard.
work to get out of.
Okay.
They have a really wonderful lazy river over at the Croc Center, and there's one way to get in when you go from the main pool into the lazy river, and as you're going along the current, and you're like, okay, I'm done with lazy river, you actually have to put a little bit of effort to get out of the lazy river.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked your analogy. Something else that you said that I think is so true. We have literally convenienced ourselves out of good health. Okay.
It requires effort.
Yeah.
It really does.
I mean, there are days that we all have those days where it's like, oh, I forgot to pack a lunch. I'm running late on time. I'll go through McDonald's and grab them, and I'm literally in the lazy river because there's the drive-through, and I come out of the drive-through and I'm back on the road again.
Yeah.
And I don't even have to get out of my car. We have convenienced ourselves out of good health.
Me right now, with everything that's going on with Lucy, the last thing I want to do is cook, and so I'm choosing the lazy way these last few weeks.
Which is
and
why
shame on me.
I love the fact that Mike's our sponsor, because you can be in the lazy river
and still eat good.
Yeah, and
there's lots of options. I mean, it's adapting, right? Like, convenience is great, but like so is the health industry. So like choosing a slightly better option, like there are options, and they can be convenient. It's just being made aware of them.
Yes.
So one of the things that Allie does is you bring on clients to help them get life in a better place. What are some of the tips that you give your clients to get out of that lazy river?
So a lot of times it's mindset is one. So stop saying everything's really hard, because especially this is actually easier the more severe the health conditions. My husband is a great example. He has a lot of gut issues, and it's no point in saying like eating the way that we do is hard, because it's just what he has to do to feel good. And so if we make that shift of like, this is just what I got to do, right? Versus if I'm allergic to peanuts, like, oh, it's really hard not having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. No, it's not, because you can't have it anymore. It's not hard anymore. It's what you got to do. So trying to make that shift. Obviously, I'm not trying to like scare people out of eating certain foods, because there is a balance to it. But if that's our focus, we don't need as much motivation if that's what I have to do now. And it's just an easier way to execute those actions.
Well, I'm going to read something off from your card here. And I think this is really profound. First off, we didn't even get into where Allie's education's at. She has from 2022 and 23's mentorship of the CNS hours, which is like
Certified Nutrition Specialist.
Right. In 2019, the NCI, which is the
Nutrition Coaching Institute.
So she has a nutrition certification there. She has a master's. So she has a master's in human nutrition and functional medicine.
Wow.
She's got a nutritional therapy practitioner, and then a bachelor's degree in biology.
Wow.
So she kind of knows what she's talking about.
Yes.
Lifelong nerd.
Lifelong nerd. I love that.
Yeah.
But in her strengths, and it's what she was just saying here, the mindset shifts to make healthy living enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be. Oh my gosh, it can be so enjoyable, actually.
I remember years ago, I had this friend that his wife had gotten this condition where she had to put on some medication. And she should have been on it for about 3 months. And they left her on it for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And it completely messed with her brain. It was trying to control some anxiety issues, but it got to the point with her brain that she was just comatose to society.
Yeah.
And so in an effort to get her off from that, they began making shifts in what she was eating. But they became so radical with their decisions that they couldn't even go out to eat anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
You go out to eat with your friends, and nothing on the menu is going to work for her. And so he adopted what he calls the 80-20 principle.
Oh, yeah.
80% of the time, you should be eating healthy. But 20%, it's okay to veer away from that. Otherwise, if you're 100%, then life's not fun anymore.
Yeah, there's a spectrum. I mean, sometimes it's worth it. Like, again, if it's an allergy, it's something you have to accept and just roll with it. But also, my mom has had that similar. She's had multiple cancer diagnoses. So at one point, like, her diet was very restricted, and then there's a lot of supplements involved. So it was a pretty restrictive lifestyle, and it would cause anxiety. It would cause a lot more worry, which I would argue is also very detrimental. So we had to be careful of like, yeah, we're not supposed to eat a ton of this, but like, it's okay. It's it's all right. And trying to find that balance, I find that really fun with clients, because obviously I can kind of distribute the science and good portion sizes, shall we say, pun intended, so that you can absorb it and like kind of work with it, but you don't need to know all of the things to give you more anxiety of like, oh, but this might cause this or that. So giving people just enough information that they need, but without causing overwhelm.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be fun to discover new ways to make things. My son was allergic to dairy. And so for 14 years and then randomly became unallergic, like was deathly allergic. Wow. So we would have fun trying new things and making new random desserts and stuff to make it fun and just try different things. And so he really enjoyed that because at first it was really dull and he hated it. And then it was like, okay, let's go and look up some different things, some different options. And we made things that even now that he's not allergic anymore, he's like, I prefer these because they taste better. They're really good. So you can get used to adjusting your diet in a positive, healthy way.
Absolutely. Your taste buds literally change over everything is about every 14 days. So like when people cut out sugar, this is a great example. Some people will put like sugar on top of strawberries because strawberries will taste sweet to them. Well, if we're having soda and processed food all the time, that's their level of sweet versus like then they taste fruit and they're like, oh, well, it's not that sweet. But if we, decrease our sugar intake a little bit, kind of recalibrate things, then fruit starts to taste a lot sweeter, and other healthy food starts to taste better as well, because quite often, when you first get started, you're like, this tastes like cardboard. Wow, it's healthy. And that can change. You will enjoy it more as you keep going.
What's intriguing what you just said is, I've worked really hard to reduce my sugar, and yet sugar is horribly addictive.
Man.
And the other day, someone had brought some donuts in, and that's my downfall. So I take a donut. Great, this is really good. One, if I could have stopped with one, I would have been fine. But I went for the second one, and then the amount of sugar, my body began to go, what are you doing? Right? Because I had reduced the sugar intake. But the addictive part kicked in. Going back for a second donut, and my body's going, what are you doing?
Like slow motion.
It was just so sweet on the second donut.
Yeah, those situations I find are fun. Most people think I'm going to beat them over the head and be like, why did you eat that? That was terrible. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, I'm not the food police. We're all adults here. You can grab what you want. But yeah, usually like in those scenarios, I try to think like, what would you be happy with at the end? Well, I don't want to feel so restricted that I never get to eat a donut. Maybe I'd be really happy with having half a donut or one a donut, and then I can move on. And then you feel like you executed your plan, and that was the plan to do it in that way versus like never have a donut again. Like that might be, detracting in some way.
And my friend that has the 80-20 principle, once they adapt that into her life, that his wife began to improve a lot. But he also knows that he really likes he likes oysters on a half shell. He also knows what they're going to do to his body when he does it. So if you choose the 20%, know what your body's going to do when you choose the 20%.
Yes.
Exactly.
You're like, because if you've been eating that kind of stuff all the time, then your body's used to it. But when you begin to phase it out, like, oh, I really love oysters. You know what it's going to do to your body? You might visit the restroom a little more often.
Yeah. When I'm really big into hitting my diet and eating good and better, nighttime's hard for me with sugar. I crave sugar right before bed. I don't know why. That's just what I do, and it's my downfall. But what you just said a second ago is I would start to crave fruit at nighttime when I was doing really well with my diet. I'm not so much on that train at this very particular moment. But I would go for fruit at nighttime to give me that sweet craving, and it would settle it. And so I wonder if that's just my body like adapting, like you say, and it being extra sweet in that moment because I'm not used to sugar.
Absolutely. I mean, and cravings can be your body telling you to have certain nutrients as well. So like the typical cliche, right? Like women have their period and they're like, give me wine and, chocolate is very classic, right? Well, resveratrol, generally good, and then which is found in wine, and then also magnesium. Magnesium can help with cramps as well. So like not saying that that's the case for everybody, but sometimes those cravings have legitimate basis. They just might not come in the form that the body's like saying like this is the best option. Maybe we have some like dark chocolate and nuts or something like that instead of like a pint of ice cream.
Wasn't good.
Yeah. So it's but it's not. Yeah, you can't just like ignore your body. It's gonna get what it wants. It's just trying to give it
wins.
Right. So trying to do it. Exactly. Yeah. No, I will win. No, we won't. We won't. Yeah.
But the body's really smart. It does tell you what it needs to do.
Yes. Yeah. Gosh, yes. Well, just if we're listening correctly.
Well, that's critical. What I want to do after the commercial break is get into some what should I do now? What can I do now? On Allie's little sheet here, she helps to improve your relationship with food.
Okay.
Let that phrase sink in.
Yeah, because sometimes it's a love-hate.
It's a
A little tumultuous.
So
Yeah.
you break the overeating or binge restrictive cycle, and that's part of what she does with her company. But there's a couple of things that Allie and I were talking that I think anyone can do to help you with your movement, to help you with a mindset. So we're going to dive a lot more into that in the next half hour.
Okay, perfect. Then I will. Are you cueing me in?
That's your cue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's your cue to go back to Mike and thank him.
Okay, so our huge shout out to our sponsor for the first half is Odd Moe's Pizza. Absolutely amazing, you guys. Chicken strips, boneless wings, cheesy garlic bread. They've got fresh salad even. Talking about being good, fresh salad. They've got garden, Greek, and club salads. Absolutely amazing. Some of their pizzas are extremely healthy. They've got ones that are just all veggies. You can do the cauliflower crust. They have original crust, honey wheat crust, and then they're gluten-free, which is the cauliflower crust. So definitely check them out, you guys. They have amazing options. They even have a vegan pizza.
And we probably should mention, because they do deliver, they got an OLCC license, so you can get your pizza and your beer, and they will deliver both to you. Oh, wow. And they've partnered up with Sandy M Brewing, so you can get beer that actually has Kicking Cancer's logo on the side of it.
Oh, I love it.
That's really cool.
All right, you guys, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.